Financial literacy is a crucial skill, but many people struggle with debt, unsmart spending, and a lack of financial education. So joining us today to share their expertise and help bridge that knowledge gap, we have financial educators Bethany and Nate Smith. Great to have both of you here.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, okay. This is a very important education session, everybody, so please pay attention, especially as we head towards tax time, right? It's kind of that check, I think, every year of like, how should I be approaching what I'm doing this year? Okay, so let's talk about your mission, though, in financial education. What inspired you to do this?
Yeah, so what inspired us was just our own experience, our own just going through it ourselves and not really understanding how money works. And we were on a journey learning, and we found our company, found our mission of financial literacy, no family left behind. We believe financial literacy is a human right, and our mission is to eradicate and erase financial literacy around the globe, starting in our local communities.
Okay, wow, so you have some wide aspirations, though, like you're saying, reaching everyone to make sure that they understand how this all works.
And in addition to that, women by the year 2030 will control 30 trillion of financial wealth in the United States, which is 2/3, which is the majority. And so it's definitely a very prevalent topic for women, especially. So yes, we're very passionate about it.
I love that. Okay, so many people, they struggle with debt. What are some first steps to get people, though, financially on track? So how do we make that first step towards being stable, if you will, with our finances?
Sure.
I think the first step is awareness and just taking inventory of where you're at. So really writing down what's your income, what's your expenses, what is your debt, and then coming up with a game plan to attack it. And then lastly, don't do it alone. Find a professional, find an educator, find someone that can help you get organized and help you create that plan and have a strategy to be able to pay off that debt faster. And then once you've got a plan in place, then you can really focus on expansion. I'm a big believer in once you got those systems in place, now you can focus on how can I increase my income, maybe it's a side gig, a side hustle, a way to generate more income so I can accelerate that, hitting that goal of paying off my debt and then working towards building wealth.
Okay, yeah. And you had mentioned making sure that you have some support with this too, maybe a little bit of guidance, which I think is incredibly important, right? I mean, if it was that simple, I don't think many of us would be in the situations that we are. Because it does take a bit to navigate finances and knowing how to track and spend, when to spend, when not to spend, when to invest, when not to invest. I mean, it can get complicated. But I think a lot of Americans, especially now more than ever, given the inflation that we're all facing, are working paycheck to paycheck. There are some habits, though, built into that. So let's talk about habits, though, that people can start to focus on starting today to help build towards a little more financial security.
Sure. And you're absolutely right. According to Forbes, 78% of Americans do live paycheck to paycheck. So it's definitely a very prevalent problem that we identified with as well. And so the first step, really, we believe, is to save. Starting small. If it's $1 a day, building that habit, much like building a muscle in the gym. At first it's uncomfortable, but the more you do it, the easier it gets.
Yeah.
And so start with $1 a day and have a goal to, build that to $3 a day, $5, $10. We recommend building an emergency fund. One reason so many of us Americans are in debt is because we, swipe a card and don't default to the emergency fund. So building that emergency fund, $1,000 at first is a good goal. Building to 3 to then 6 months is what we recommend. And then next, track. Today's digital age, we're so used to just swiping and everything's kind of,
So
virtual, that having it on an app or a spreadsheet or a notebook, use whatever you feel comfortable with, but get it somewhere visual that you can see what's coming in and what's going out. And then cutting back. I know at first it's a little uncomfortable, but like we had found at first, cutting subscriptions that they kind of get us into with the trial app.
Totally, and it's so easy to lose track of those.
Right.
And you're like, oh, sure, I'll do that. Oh, it's only $10 a month, sure.
Yep.
And then you stop using whatever subscription it is, and it just keeps renewing. It keeps
Exactly.
renewing, and then you do another one.
Yep.
And then that adds up over time.
Yep.
Like, really adds up.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So tracking that is a big one. And then increasing income, thinking about creative ways to increase income. There's so many different options out there today, from dog walking to errand running, starting a small business, taking in a roommate, things like that. Just thinking creatively and outside the box as to how can I increase my cash flow.
Yeah, you've already shared a lot of information just right there. I want to talk about these books, though. So what brought you to write these books?
So we aren't the authors of the book. We partner with the authors. The gentleman who wrote the book, Tom Matthews, as well as Kim Schooler and Sharon Lechter, who wrote the women's books. We found the books, we found the company. We just really love the way they deliver financial education. They do it in a very fun, engaging way. There's a cast of characters from all different backgrounds and walks of life and different ages. So it really helps us kind of take this topic that is sometimes taboo or just foreign to a lot of us, and makes it fun and easy, engaging to learn.
Okay, great. And it's not too overwhelming. And I have to say, frankly, it's not boring, right?
Yes.
Because in order to invest in a conversation like this or reading a book like this, first of all, you have to be motivated. And second of all, you kind of have to find joy in a part of what you're doing. And if it's something that makes you uncomfortable, being able to find something that you can read that actually is a little easier to digest is a really great thing,
Definitely.
right? Yeah, so
Definitely.
it's good to hear that's got some good cast of characters, and it's something that people should easily be able to walk through.
Yes.
I do want to go back really quick because you talked about saving, right? And at first you talk about, okay, you have a low goal, which is good. Once you get comfortable with that, you kind of increase it. Just like in the gym, you add a little more weight each time.
Sure.
What is the ultimate goal, though, for somebody when it comes to how much should they have socked away in their saving versus what their income is to make sure that they have that emergency in the event something happens?
Great question.
Yes, we say 3 to 6 months of expenses
3 to
for an
6.
emergency fund. So
Okay.
take a look at what is your expenses, what are the core expenses that you know if you lost your job today,
Yes.
you still need to pay your rent, put food on the table, those types of things. So take them for what that number is, then multiply that by 3 to 6. We recommend as many as, you can go to 12 if you want to, but 3 to 6
Sky's
is
the
a
limit
good,
after that,
exactly,
right?
yeah.
But you at least want that in the event
Yeah.
of the unexpected
Exactly.
occurring.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
someone gets sick, can't work anymore. I
Right.
mean, that's life, right?
Right.
That happens.
We do like to
Yeah.
call it a life fund versus an emergency fund because
I like
emergencies
that.
happen. Life
Yes.
happens.
Life fund. That's good. I like it. Okay, where can people go so they can find these books and get more information?
Sure. Maybe the easiest spot is our Instagram, How Many Works Boise, but also our website, howmanyworks.com/my name Bethany Smith or his name Nate Smith. You can get free resources, request the books. We have 2 in ebook format too.
Oh, nice.
One that just came out written by young adults for young adults, so very excited about that. So
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Both of you, thank you so much. Greatly appreciate you taking the time
Thank you.
to shed a little light on a much needed topic. All right, everyone, stick around. More to come here on Idaho Today right after the break.